Hey guys, this is Frankie Painter Fitness. Today is Friday, so this is Fitness with Frankie on Friday. So last week I posted a video. I was out at the playground and I did an exercise called a quadruped, a full plank quadruped, where I lifted my right arm and my left leg, and then my left arm and my right leg. So I was in a full plank position on my hands and my toes. And I got a question from one of my previous clients that says, how do you modify this exercise if you have trouble bending your big toe joint? And actually, I've had this question come up a couple of times in my career as a trainer from people that had arthritis in their big toes. I personally had to deal with it in a different situation where I've had surgery on that outside of that big toe joint twice, and for 4 to 5 months, both times, I was not able to bend that toe joint, so I had to figure out how to modify any exercise that required me to bend that joint. So you're thinking about things that like push-ups where you're on your toes and your hands, anything in a plank position, whether you're on your hands or your elbows and your toes. And then lunges are the top things that I think about, because those are the things that require you to bend your toes like that. So I want to give you 3 options for how to modify exercises that require you to bend that big toe joint. So for the exercise last week, the quadruped exercise, I brought in my BOSU. So what I want you to think about when you're thinking of modifications, for that exercise, you have support on each end at your hands and your toes. So your support is pretty long there, okay? And of course, your body is in between. So what you're trying to do is figure out how do you maintain the integrity, the intensity, use all the same muscles to do the exercise without having to put the pressure on your toe joints to do it. So the way you're going to do that is you have to support your lower body in a different way that doesn't require that bend. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you on the BOSU because that's what I have available to me right now, and then I'm going to give you 2 other options. So here's how we're going to make that work. So what we're wanting to do is we're going to use the BOSU. Now this is actually even a little bit harder than the exercise that I did last week, because your lower body is now on an unstable surface. Last week my toes were on solid ground, that was stable. So putting your lower body on an unstable surface is even going to make it a little bit harder. So let me just show you how to do it first, and then we'll talk about even some modifications for that. So here's what we're doing. We're going to take our BOSU and I'm going to come over the top of it like this. And I'm going to center it kind of between my knees and my feet. So you can see right now, my feet are free to move. They're not touching the floor. I'm not having to bend them in any way, okay? So I'm in basically the same position, except my body is not completely straight like it was last week. So I do have a little bit of a bend in my knees. It's kind of hard to see, my shirt's hanging down, but from my shoulders to my hips, that's still in a straight line position. So you definitely don't want to be like this doing the exercise. You could be a little higher, which is going to make it a little bit easier. But ultimately, about right here is where you want to be for the exercise to feel like it's the same intensity as what I did last week. And like I said, it may even feel a tiny bit harder because of the instability factor. All right, so from this position, you're going to do it exactly the same way. You're going to maintain stable on one side, right arm and left leg. Hold for a few seconds, bring it in, switch sides, left arm and right leg. Like that, okay? So same idea for how to do it, no bend in the toe. And then let me back up 1 second. So for last week, the first thing I thought of when I saw that question come up was, instead of doing that exercise on your toes, take it to your knees. So this is the exact same exercise here on your knees. The problem with this, for some people, is that exercise is not as intense. And maybe it feels a little bit too easy for them. You know, they have enough core stability that they can maintain that position easily, and they want to make it harder, but they can't make it harder because they can't be on their toes. So if you fall in that category where you just need it to be easier, take that exercise, put it on the floor, onto hands and knees, and do it just like that. That's how I start all of my clients off. When I start to progress them is when we move them onto their toes or onto an unstable surface. All right, so the Bosu is the first option. The second option would be one of the large stability or Swiss balls that you'll see in your exercise facility. I would suggest just choosing the smallest one there. It's usually, I think, a 55 centimeter ball. You're gonna do exactly the same thing. You're gonna roll over the ball. You're gonna center it between your knees and your feet, just like this. So just imagine that this is your ball here. You're gonna center it between your knees and your feet, and you're gonna do exactly the same thing. Now I'm gonna tell you that that is going to feel extremely hard because now you're on a ball and that is a full unstable surface. At least here, it's flat on the bottom, okay? So if that is too hard for you, one of the things you could do is back the ball up into a corner. I do that with clients sometimes. Back it up into a corner, and then you're just gonna have to get your feet up on it from this position into the corner and do the exercise like that. The other thing that you can do to make that exercise a little bit easier, if all you have is one of those balls, is instead of placing the ball between your knees and your feet, you're gonna move it up underneath your body and have it a little more up under you, like in this position here, okay? Where you're doing right arm and left leg, so it's underneath your belly more. Because think about it, your support is on each end. It's your hands are on the floor and the ball is underneath between your knees and your feet. That's a long way between the 2 points. So that makes it a lot harder. If you just move the ball in, put it underneath your midsection, then the 2 points of contact with the floor are closer and makes the exercise easier. So it's gonna feel a little different, but look at it like this. If you start off that way and you slowly move the ball back towards your feet, that's a progression because that's harder to do. So that's a very easy way to see how you're progressing with it. The third option, in the gym, there is a leg extension and a hamstring curl machine that has a roller on it. The roller is probably about this big, okay? And it's the machine that you sit on and let me see if I can do it here, you know, your leg, the roller is down here at your ankles and you pick your leg up like this, both legs, you can do both or one. And then the hamstring, you flip over, the roller's like right here, and you curl it in. That's the machine I'm talking about. So the roller is kind of down low enough, and you can move the roller. There's actually a pin that you can change the position of the roller. Put that down in the lowest position. You can back up to the roller, put your foot on the roller. This is for if you are needing to do lunges and you don't have a way to do a lunge, because lunges are like this. So my back foot, my toe joint is bent every single time I do a lunge. So if I want to do lunges and I can't bend my back toe, I've got to raise that foot up onto something. So I could put it right here. I could raise it up onto this, and I could do my lunge just like that. Or you could put it up on that roller, like I was talking about. Or you could put your foot up onto one of the small stability balls like I was talking about. So that, I hope, gives you a lot of good options for how to deal with a sore big toe, arthritis, whatever may happen. You know, one day you may be able to do the exercises fine, and then the next day all of a sudden something's happened and you can't bend that joint and you need a way to modify it. So hopefully that gives you some good options on how to do that. So if you have any comments on this, any other questions, please feel free to post those. I go through this in my mind and I think I've said everything, but inevitably I haven't. I've left something out. But I hope that gives you a few good options on how to modify exercises that require you to bend your big toe. and try those out. Let me know what you think. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next